So you need some support for your mental health. Where do you even begin to look? Do you turn to an app on your phone, or do you find a seat on a therapist's couch? Well, today on The Explainer, we are going to navigate this really crucial choice and help you figure out what's right for you.
With rates of anxiety and depression on the rise all over the world, finding care that's actually effective and accessible is more important than it has ever been. So, which way do you go? Is the future of therapy all digital? Is it traditional? Or is it maybe something in between? Let's get into it. Okay, first things first, let's get our terms straight. So on one side, you've got digital therapy. Think about platforms like BetterHelp or Talkspace, where you get sessions through video calls, texts. You might even use AI-powered apps like Wobot. And then on the other side, you have traditional therapy. The established practice of meeting a professional face-to-face, in person in a clinical setting. It's built on that direct human interaction. But here's the million-dollar question. Do they actually work? Which approach is really more effective when it comes to improving our mental well-being? For our first round, let's dive into the data on effectiveness. The data here is pretty fascinating. A 2023 study in The Lancet found that digital apps can be up to 70% effective for mild to moderate cases. That is really impressive. But traditional therapy, it still holds the edge with an effectiveness rate closer to 85%, especially when you're talking about more complex or severe conditions. And this quote right here, it gets right to the heart of the professional perspective. Therapists like Dr. Khalid argue that, digital tools are useful, but they can feel a bit superficial. For those really deep-seated issues like trauma, a therapist's ability to read body language, to feel the energy in the room, to build that strong in-person connection, that's something a screen just can't fully replicate. All right, round two. And this one's a huge factor for pretty much everyone. The cost. Can you actually afford the help that you need? And this is where the gap gets really, really clear. Digital platforms, they often use these subscription models that can bring the per session cost way down, sometimes as low as $20 to $50. Now compare that to a single traditional therapy session. That can easily run you anywhere from $50 to over $150. And that all depends on where you live and the therapist experience. So what does that actually look like over a month? Well, this number you're looking at, that's the potential extra cost. If you're doing weekly sessions, you could be looking at over $400 more per month for traditional therapy versus a lot of these digital plans. And for a lot of people, that's just a massive barrier to getting help. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about something that is incredibly important, but honestly, it often gets overlooked in this digital age. And that's your privacy. Who has access to your most personal, private thoughts? This is, without a doubt, the single biggest challenge facing digital therapy platforms. When you pour your heart out into an app, you are creating a data trail. And a question becomes, who owns that data? Who's in charge of securing it? And, who might be looking at it? And the risks here are very real. Back in 2020, a major digital therapy platform had a huge data breach that exposed the information of thousands of users. And it's not just about hacking. Some platforms have gotten into hot water over their privacy policies and whether they're sharing anonymized data with third parties, like advertisers. But listen, it's not all doom and gloom. You can absolutely take steps to protect yourself. The most reputable platforms are HIPAA compliant, which is a strict US healthcare privacy law. They also use really strong military-grade encryption, like AES 256, to lock down your data. So the big takeaways here is, do your homework. Always read the privacy policy before you sign up for anything. So let's move beyond the data and the dollars for a minute. How do these two approaches actually feel? What's the human experience like for the people who are actually using them? For some people, like Lila here, the experience just isn't the same. She felt that the algorithm or even the text-based therapist just couldn't really grasp the nuances of what she was going through. For her, that feeling of being truly seen and heard by another person was missing, and that was a total deal breaker. But then you've got people like Mohammed, and for him, the convenience is a complete game changer. Being able to just log on for a session from his home, no commute, no traffic. That's what makes therapy possible with his busy schedule. For him, the effectiveness feels just as high, and that accessibility is the #1 benefit. And what's so fascinating is that the global data reflects this split perfectly. A US study found that 60% of users who put convenience and low cost first preferred digital options. But then, a European study showed that 70% of patients looking for help with more severe issues or deep-seated trauma prefer the environment of traditional face-to-face sessions. It really just depends on what you're trying to achieve. So we've looked at effectiveness, we've talked cost, we've covered privacy, and we've touched on the human experience. Where does all of this leave us? Let's bring it all together for the final verdict.
At the end of the day, there is no single right answer for everyone. It really depends on the person and what they need. For teenagers who value speed and privacy, digital therapy can be a fantastic, low-pressure way to start. But for adults who are navigating more complex life issues, the depth you get from traditional therapy often provides much more robust support.
But the real future probably isn't a battle between these two. It's more likely a partnership. Just imagine a hybrid model. You're using an app for your daily check-ins, for mood tracking, for that immediate I need help now support, but you're also having periodic in-person sessions for the deeper, more intensive work. That kind of blended approach could really offer the best of both worlds. And that leaves us with a huge question for the future. As AI gets smarter and our lives just keep getting busier, how is our relationship with therapy going to evolve? Will we end up preferring the 24/7 availability of an algorithm, or will the irreplaceable nature of real human connection always win out in the end? It's something for all of us to think about. Thanks for watching The Explainer.